So we did some good things. We were good defensively in the first half, got a little tired again. Felt like we had some shots to knock them out in the last 6 minutes and didn't make any of them. We just have to play better at crunch time, but overall, it's a pretty good performance.
Keith, how does it feel to open the new building with a victory?
Well, it would have been kind of a downer not to, right? So, it's crazy that I talked to some of the Dayton coaches. They said, wow, this place is unbelievable. And think about their place. They've got a really nice place, but they really liked what we did with it. And that, again, that's a tribute to Dave Harper's forward thinking, where he kind of made it a non-cookie cutter arena. And but it was a good win for us. We played much better than we did the first time against them.
You came out with a lot of energy, Keith, and especially early in the game. Do you think it was because of the new building, or would you have done the same thing at La Roche, the way you've been playing lately?
That's a great question, Jerry. I think we've improved as far as our mental toughness. I think playing Mikey Bakelja has really helped us because he doesn't do anything. He just goes out there and he's a steady force. He guards. He plays good team defense. He moves the ball. And his stat line looks horrible, but ever since we played him, we've won. So that's not a coincidence. And I told our guys before the game, Jerry, basically that if it's a finesseful game, we're not going to win. So we had to be strong, tough, gritty, and win the battle of the toughness plays because they're finesseful.
As a part of that, Keith, can you speak to the importance of only allowing 6 second chance points and the work you guys did on the boards?
See, Jeff, you're smarter than me because I didn't even know that. But I did know we dominated the inside. It doesn't take a genius. I didn't really study the stat sheet yet, but we dominated the inside, which is how we're built. And I felt like once Mike Hughes and Marcus played themselves into better shape that we would be okay. As long as we surround them with enough shooting, which we still haven't shot the ball. I mean, we're still struggling from the 3 line. If we ever shoot from the 3 line, then we'll take another jump. But we're beating people's brains inside, which is important for us. That's kind of how we built the whole program.
As a follow to that, Keith, 32 for them picked up 2 very quick fouls. Their big post player that was getting a lot of their rebounds. Just how big of a factor was it that he was taken out early, which allows you to set up their defense, which seemed to frustrate them?
Well, they played small. Not only did he have foul trouble, but they had their other guy was not dressed for whatever reason, Sissoko. So, but they played small against us the first time, and we struggled for whatever reason. I think I didn't think Mark and Mike were in as good a shape as they are now. They're playing now like they did last year, which now makes us a contender. If eventually we can make a few. Because we're better defensively this year than we've ever been. And we should get better because we're still making a lot of young and dumb mistakes. But we have enough length and things to really cover some of them up.
Keith, to my knowledge, this was the first game of the season where you've had 4 freshmen playing together in the first half. Can you talk about the continuing development of your freshman class and what they're all able to contribute?
Well, they're getting better. I mean, they're learning under fire and not non-league games, but conference games against good teams. So, they just have to stay at it and get better, mature, keep working at their game. But they're all playing pretty well, really. And before I continue, though, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the name of the Fieldhouse, which to me has special meaning because my dad came right when Chuck was leaving, Chuck Cooper. So I know what Duquesne stood for and what they believed in and just what Chuck Cooper has done for the city, the trailblazingness of what he did, in the NBA, basically the Jackie Robinson of the NBA. That name on the building means a lot to me. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands that because, again, I know the history of Duquesne better than most. So that meant a lot to me to win the game in the first game of UPMC Chuck Cooper Fieldhouse. And I'm happy for his family as well.
To follow up on that, Keith, where does this win rank in your time at Duquesne?
I don't know. I'm not like nostalgic, so I really don't think about that. When I retire, I'll figure all that out. So,
Keith, how much did you explain that to your players about the importance of Chuck?
well, we've talked about it at length because young Chuck has been around our program a lot and has really spent a lot of time with our players because I think that's really, really important. And just his ties to the city and the African-American community through all the racial tensions that have, gone on in the last year is important that, he's around our guys. And so we didn't talk much about it before the game or anything like that, but we've talked about it over time for a long time.
Keith, I forget I missed. I had to writing stuff, so if I missed it, what did you say to Chad and Hughes about the technical fouls they drew there late, particularly considering that kind of brought that game a little closer, made it a little tighter than it should have been, probably?
I can't really. I didn't say anything to Mike Hughes because he probably, who knows, he might have got me a technical foul. But he's done a pretty good job overall of controlling himself compared to last year. Chad, I was just trying not to get fired. I was trying to make a point to him without, making a huge scene. But he needs to do better. Like I told you, it's going to cost us a game. Didn't cost us tonight, but it's gonna. So at some point, I got to hit him between the eyes. Not literally. He needs to be disciplined. He has to be more disciplined, but he's a good player. Don't be misled. He's a talented player.
And if they've asked you this before, forgive me, but how much of a difference did it make having some people clapping and cheering and the little student section back there? Wasn't many, but you can hear them at least from over here.
Again, I'm the wrong person. I get so locked in to what I'm trying to do in my job that I really never noticed the crowd either. I take that back. I've noticed some crowds when they've been crazy loud, but never really noticed much.
Keith, I know that there's a lot of basketball left, but you got to feel good about, you played 4 freshmen a lot tonight. And then that says something about, where this program is going to go beyond March of 2021.
Well, there's no guarantees, Jerry. Like guys got to get better. Again, I did tell you this. I don't think many programs could do what we've done. I don't want to brag, but like we're playing a lot of young guys, and it doesn't seem like we missed a beat. I mean, we did for a while, which is understandable, but we've been pretty resilient and tough, and that's a tribute to our guys. Now we're going to get punched in the mouth again, and we're going to have to rally ourselves again. But I think if we shoot the ball a little bit better, we've got a lot of really good pieces, and I think that's probably the best thing we've done over the last 2-3 weeks is we're starting to just play within our roles a little bit better. There's no question that the 2 big guys are the key guys for us, right? And then everybody else has to work around them. And, I just think that's key for us is understanding, how we win.
Keith, when you first took this job, we talked, and one of the things you told me was, you felt like there was this attitude that like you can't win at Duquesne. And then you kind of told me like, well, why not? And you kind of rattled off a list of all the things that Duquesne as a school and Pittsburgh as a city have going for it. Where's this building kind of come into that picture as, well, now like there's really not really many reasons why not now, right?
So the rap on Duquesne in the past has been they never won. They can't win. They haven't been to the NCAA tournament in 1,000 years. Coaches get fired. There's no commitment from the school. So the first thing they did is they hired you know, an experienced coach and paid. Like they financially committed, right? And then they paid again, right, for the arena. So they financially committed. They went all in. They put all chips in, right? And that's your only chance. If you don't commit, you can't win. Eventually, you can't consistently sustain anything. So now Duquesne went from the doormat to not championship yet. Like we haven't gotten there yet, but we're good enough to play with anybody in the league. We can play with the Blue Bloods. We're not going to win every night, but we can. We're a little scary for people, at least, right? They can't just show up and just say, "Oh, well, there's Duquesne. We're going to beat them." And listen, again, I'll say this again. People could think it's the coach before, but it's not the coach when you lose for as many years as Duquesne lost. They've had some good coaches here. They just didn't have enough in the program. And we have to continue to put more in the program because of that transfer portal. Because that transfer portal is going to be worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So if you don't have a lot in the program, eventually you're going to get stung. And you can only get stung so many times before you can't recover.
Keith, since the Rhode Island game, you guys have only gone 3 or 4 days between each game. How nice is it going to be to have a few extra days now, playing Tuesday and then going to Sunday, have a few extra practice days there?
You know, it's funny. That's a good question. I don't think it's particularly good. We're playing at a pretty high level right now, and not perfect, but fairly good. And it's funny, we were talking as a staff because we've been together so long, our guys. And if you really analyze my teams over the years, we've always had a lot of early season issues. You'd think by now I'd figure it out, but like we've never been great early season. And so I think we got stung a little bit because of the COVID, not having non-league games, that we're just rounding ourselves into form right now. And this is kind of like where we would be at the end of December usually, starting to play a little bit better. So I don't particularly like the days off right now, but I'm sure Marcus and Mike Hughes and those guys will.
And speaking of Mike Bacalja, you've spoken of obviously not having the strongest stat line, but being a good, strong, intangible, sound player. What was the plan like coming into the game with him guarding Crutcher, and what did you make of his ability to guard him in the half court?
Well, we started off, we doubled Crutcher to start the game, just to try to put a kind of like with a quarterback, just to give him a different look. And then we went back to normal coverage because they made some adjustments and they've seen it before, and but the thing about Mikey is he's sturdy. He's sturdy and he's willing, right? He doesn't care about the other stuff. He doesn't care about scoring really unless he's open. He doesn't care about anything else other than just winning. He has no agenda. There's no basketball agenda. Now, people say, he didn't do anything. Look at it. Like you got to to play 26 minutes, you got to do better than 2 points and 3 rebounds. And I think eventually he will. I think he can be a good offensive player. I do. But what he's done really well is he's moved the ball. He's defended. He's tough. And he plays with no agenda, which means that loosens up everybody else a little bit. So, again, people say I'm nuts for playing him. I'm sure people say, well, how can you play him when you got him or you got this? I mean, the proof's in the pudding until we lose, right? Some guys win and some guys don't, right? Some guys are winners.
Overall, Coach, was tonight fun for you coming in, just doing everything, getting the win, the whole experience once you get to kind of take a deep breath from it all?
That was fun. It was fun when it was over. Seriously, like I'm so schizophrenic, paranoid that I never think teams are out of it. especially with a team like that. I think they're the number 1 3-point shooting team in our league, or one of them. So I knew they were going to make a run at us, but they didn't get the run until really late. And again, we have to keep improving our conditioning and our mental toughness so that doesn't happen. But to answer your question, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna go to bed early, but I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed it. This is past my bedtime.